I don't remember the drive. That's the part that still bothers me. I was at the kitchen table, Elena's urn in front of me. The dark blue ceramic I've been staring at for days, weeks. Time had stopped meaning much. And then I was just here, engine off, hands on the wheel, staring at the lighthouse through the windshield like I'd been sitting there for hours. 5 hours of road, gone. I couldn't tell you a single thing about the trip. Not a gas station, not a rest stop, nothing. Grief does that, I told myself. Blacks out the hours. Makes you lose pieces of yourself. When had I last eaten? Slept? I couldn't remember that either. Just the kitchen table, the urn, and then here. Elena loved this place. Our place, she called it. We found it years ago. I couldn't tell you how many anymore. This abandoned lighthouse on a stretch of coast nobody else seemed to know about. She made me promise once, standing up on the gallery with the wind in her hair, that if anything ever happened to her, I'd bring her back here. So here I was, keeping my promise, but something was wrong. I couldn't say what exactly. Same stone tower, same peeling white paint, same rusted railing around the gallery at the top, but it felt different. Like looking at a word you've written 100 times until it stops looking like a word at all. Familiar and foreign at the same time. The parking lot was empty. No other cars. No boats out on the water. No gulls. No sound at all except the waves. And even those seemed far away. Muffled, like I was hearing them from underwater. I looked at the passenger seat. The urn sat there, buckled in where Elena used to sit. I couldn't remember buckling it in, but I must have. Who else would have? Cold when I touched it. Cold like it had just been sitting in a freezer. It's fine, I told myself. You're fine, just do what you came to do. The door to the lighthouse was open. Not unlocked, open. A few inches of darkness showing between the door and the frame, like someone had just stepped inside, or just stepped out. The door was always locked, every time we had come here. Elena had to pick it. She was good at that. Don't ask me why, because it was always locked. But not today. I should have turned around. I know that. Something in my chest was telling me to get back in the car, drive away, scatter her somewhere else. But this was our place, and I had promised. I picked up the urn. It was heavier than I remembered. The air outside the car was cold. Too cold. My breath fogged in front of me. Which didn't make sense. It wasn't that cold, was it? I couldn't tell anymore. Couldn't tell what season it was, what month. Everything felt thin, washed out. Gray sky, gray water, gray stone. Inside the lighthouse, darkness. The smell of salt and rust and old stone. A spiral staircase curling up into shadow. Iron steps bolted to the wall. And somewhere far above, a faint gray light filtering down. I put my foot on the first step. The metal groaned. And somewhere above me, 2 floors up, maybe 3, I heard movement. Not the building settling, not wind. Movement. Something shifting its weight. Something that had been waiting. I should have turned around, yet I started climbing. The stairs spiraled up along the inner wall. Iron steps, rusted at the edges, bolted into stone that had been holding this place together for over a century. Each step groaned under my weight. The sound echoed up and up, bouncing off the walls and coming back to me wrong, like the building was repeating my footsteps in a language I didn't understand. Up and up, the urn heavy in my arms, that cold ceramic pressing against my chest. I stopped, listened. Nothing now. Whatever I had heard from below, gone. Just the echo of my own steps dying out. Hello? My voice sounded flat in there, absorbed by stone. No answer came back. Old building, I told myself. Just settling, that's all. So I kept climbing. The light from below faded the higher I went. The only illumination now was that faint gray glow filtering down from the lantern room above. Passing a window, salt-crusted glass, couldn't see much through it. I caught something in my peripheral vision. A shape on the stairs above me, dark against the gray light. There, then not there. I grabbed the railing. I couldn't breathe for a second. Hello? Is someone up there? Silence. So thick I could hear blood rushing in my ears. Grief, I thought. Grief makes you see things. My legs moved. I made them move. Then the cold hit. Not gradual. Sudden. Like stepping through a doorway into somewhere else. The temperature plummeted, and my breath turned to thick white fog in front of my face. I could see it hanging in the air, drifting in the gray light. Each exhale a cloud that dissolved into nothing. Not drafts. Not the stone holding cold. Something else. Something I didn't have a word for. The silence above me felt heavy, expectant, like something was waiting to see what I would do next. I stood there on those iron steps, urn clutched to my chest, fog curling from my lips, that old smell of rust and salt thick in my throat. Keep going, I told myself. You promised her. Keep going. The gallery door waited at the top of the next flight. Heavy wood, paint peeling, a rusted handle. The door to the outside walkway where Elena used to stand with her arms spread wide, laughing, telling me to look at the view. I reached it, put my hand on the handle. Cold metal, colder than it should be, and I couldn't make myself turn it. I blinked, and it was dark. Not the gray dimness from before. Dark. Night dark. The room above had become something else. A beam, sweeping past the windows in slow rotations, throwing shadows that wheeled across the walls like something alive. The light was working, the light that hadn't worked in all the years we had been coming up here. My back was pressed against cold stone. The urn sat heavy in my lap. My hands wrapped around it like I was afraid someone might take it. I didn't remember sitting down, didn't remember letting go of the door handle. How long had I been here? It had been afternoon when I arrived, gray but light. Now the window showed nothing but black, and that beam kept sweeping, cutting through the darkness in a rhythm that felt wrong. Too slow, like a heartbeat winding down. What happened to the last few hours? Nothing. I couldn't pull up anything between putting my hand on that door handle and now. Just a gap. A hole where time should be. Get up and get out. My legs felt distant when I stood, like they belonged to someone else. The urn was heavy in my arms. Too heavy. Had it always been this heavy? That's when I saw the window, and what was outside it. A shape. A figure. Beyond the glass, silhouetted against the beam as it swept past. 3 floors up, nothing but air, and a 100-foot drop on the other side of that window. Something was standing there, looking in. My breath caught. The beam swept past again. The figure was still there, human-shaped, not moving, just watching. What the fuck? 1 step back. 2. My heel hit the first stair going down. The figure was gone. When I spun towards the stairs, it was there. In the stairwell doorway, blocking the way down. A dark shape, darker than the shadows around it, standing perfectly still between me and the only way out. No face, nothing but the outline. The suggestion of something human-shaped that wasn't human at all. Run, something screamed inside my head. Run! So I ran. Not down. I couldn't go down. It was there. It was right there. I ran up. Toward the lantern room, the only direction left. The urn clutched against my chest. Ceramic edge digging into my ribs as I took the stairs 2 at a time. The door at the top. I shoved through it, slammed it behind me. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely find the lock, but I found it and locked the bolt. The beam swept past, blinding for a second, then darkness again. Light, dark, light, dark. And underneath it, the mechanical click, click, click of the rotating mechanism, steady as a pulse. No footsteps on the stairs. Not yet. I waited. The beam swept past. Click, click, click. Swept past again. Click, click, click. The rhythm of it filling the small room, bouncing off stone walls, drilling into my skull. How long? Minutes, maybe longer. No footsteps. No sound except that mechanical pulse and my own ragged breathing. Maybe it was gone. Maybe I'd imagined it. Grief and exhaustion and a dark building playing tricks on. Open the door, just look. The bolt slid back under my fingers. Eased the door open an inch. Empty. The stairs were empty. Just darkness below. The beam sweeping past the windows every few seconds. No figure, no shape, nothing. Go, now, before it comes back. Down, gallery door, ground floor, out, just keep moving. Cold hit me halfway there. That same freezing wall from before, but worse now. So cold it burned. So cold my breath came out in thick white clouds that hung in the air like ghosts. Keep going, down and down. Past windows showing nothing but black until I reached it. The gallery door. Elena's door. The one that led outside to the walkway where she used to stand with her arms spread wide. The handle was cold in my grip. I yanked. Locked. No. Shoulder into it. Nothing. The door didn't even rattle. It was never locked before. We never locked it. Elena always... And below me, footsteps. Slow, deliberate. Coming out from the darkness at the bottom of the stairs. The figure was climbing toward me, emerging from shadow, taking the stairs one at a time. Patient, unhurried, blocking the only way out. My stomach dropped. Legs went weak, useless. Move. Move! I stumbled back. The beam swept past and I caught a glimpse. Something white. It was wearing something white. The lantern room. Up. It's the only way. I ran. Back the way I had come. Past the watchroom. Up the final flight. The urn clutched against my chest. Ceramic digging into my ribs. The stairs went on too long. Way too long. I knew every step of this lighthouse and these stairs were wrong. Too many. Like the building was stretching itself, making more distance between me and safety. The lantern room door, finally, slammed into it, shelved through, spun around. The figure was still climbing, step by step, face in shadow. But I could see the white now. White fabric, a dress maybe, or a gown. My back hit the glass of the lantern housing. Nowhere left to run, nowhere left to go. It kept climbing, and in the silence between footsteps, I could hear it breathing. The beam swept past. Light, dark, light, dark. I pressed harder against the glass. I felt it creak behind me. The drop was right there. 100 feet of nothing, then rocks, then waves. One push. That's all it would take. End this before it could reach me. The figure stepped into the lantern room, raised one hand toward me, and somewhere between one flash and the next, the memory hit me. Screeching tires, that horrible shrieking sound of rubber on ice. Headlights flooding through the windshield, so bright I couldn't see anything else. Elena's voice, screaming my name. David! Impact, metal folding, glass shattering, the world spinning, weightless for one impossible second, and then nothing. The urn slipped from my arms. I heard it hit the floor somewhere, but the sound seemed far away. Light swept across my vision, and I looked down at my hands. They were wrong. In the brightness, just for a second, they looked pale. Too pale. Almost translucent, like I could see the beam shining through them. Blinked, looked again. Normal, just my hands. But something cold had settled in my chest. Something worse than fear. When did I leave the hospital? The accident, I remembered that. Flashes of white rooms after. Voices, Elena's name being said by people I couldn't see. Grief, screaming, but it was all fragments. Shards that wouldn't fit together. And after that, when did I get the urn? How did I get here? When did I... Nothing. Couldn't pull any of it up. The accident, the fragments, and then standing in my kitchen, staring at the urn. How much time had passed? Days? Weeks? I didn't know. Why can't I remember? The footsteps had stopped. The figure stood 2 flights below, still, silent, not climbing anymore, just waiting. The beam swept past, and for a moment I saw the white dress clearly, simple, familiar somehow. Something had changed. It didn't feel threatening. It felt sad. What are you? My voice came out broken, barely a whisper. The figure didn't answer, but in the silence, I could have sworn I heard it sigh. It began to climb again, slow, one step at a time. Not hunting anymore, just coming. I didn't run, couldn't maybe, or didn't want to. The fear had burned itself out, leaving something hollow in its place. Who are you? The figure reached the top of the stairs and paused at the threshold. The beam swept past, and for one long moment, the light fell full on her face. Elena. Not monstrous, not decayed. My wife, looking the way she always looked when she was worried about me. Tired and sad, like she'd been waiting for so long. David. My name in her voice, the way she always said it. Soft, patient, and suddenly the air smelled like her shampoo. Like lavender, like home. Something broke in me. I sank to the floor, backsliding down the glass until I was sitting there, looking up at her. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. You have to remember, she said, gentle, like she was trying not to break me. And I did. The accident. Not just the sounds this time, the whole thing. The ice. The other car spinning toward us, my hands on the wheel, useless. Elena screaming. The impact that crushed the driver's side. Crushed me. I was driving. I died, I whispered. The words hung there. I waited for her to tell me I was wrong, that I had survived, that my body was in a hospital bed somewhere and this was just a dream. She didn't. Elena nodded. Her eyes bright with tears she wasn't letting fall. We both did. Together. You were holding my hand. The urn, I looked around for it. I had dropped it. I heard it fall. Nothing. The floor was empty. No urn, no ashes. There's nothing to scatter, David. Her voice cracked. We're already here. She stepped through the doorway, my wife. Light sweeping past her in slow circles. No more fear, no more running. Just her. You've been waiting. It wasn't a question. I could see it in her face. The exhaustion, the patience, the love that had kept her here through all of it. My running, my fear. Whatever broken thing I had become after the accident. She almost smiled. Of course she had waited here. Where else would she go? Our lighthouse, the place she'd loved more than anywhere. The place I'd been trying to bring her back to, not understanding that she was already here, that she'd been here the whole time. I was so scared, I whispered. She nodded, something soft in her eyes. She knew. She'd seen all of it, the terror, the running, me not being ready. And she had waited anyway. She reached out her hand, pale in the sweeping light, real, solid, not just a ghost's hand, just Elena's hand, the way it had always been, small, warm, waiting for mine. I took it. Warmth flooded through me, the first real thing I had felt since the accident, since the impact, since everything went white and cold and wrong. The beam swept past us, not exposing anymore, welcoming. Cold gone, fear gone, just us standing in the light. Ready? She asked. My wife, my home. Yeah, I said. I'm ready. The light swept past us one last time. Then we walked into it together.